Welcome to AT&T Stadium in Arlington, Texas, where today 41 Pro Football Hall of Famers are represented today, and one of those is that man, Brett Favre, leader of the Green Bay Packers. He faces Roger Staubach and the all-time Dallas Cowboys. But for Brett Favre this season, he took over for the Packers in Week 6 after the injury to Aaron Rodgers in a loss to the Rams. Brett Favre exacted revenge against the Rams last week in a come-from-behind victory 23-13, thanks to a prolific rushing performance from Ahman Green. But here today from Texas Stadium, the first meeting of this season, the Packers, the Cowboys, for a spot to face the 49ers in the NFC Championship. Next.
On the team. Lambeau is more than a field. Lombardi is not just a trophy, but an icon. To carry on for Bart and Brett. This is Title Town. These are the Packers. In Dallas, good guys wear a star. From Landry's doomsday defense to the triplets creating a dynasty of their own. Like Captain Comeback, they play as heroes. These are the Cowboys.
AT&T Stadium in Arlington, Texas, on full display this afternoon for an iconic battle between the all-time Green Bay Packers and all-time Dallas Cowboys in the NFC Divisional playoffs. DeBock alongside Focasano. Pleasure to be with you here from Dallas. Deion Sanders on the kickoff return all the way out to the 17-yard line. No
That's
quarterback
a win for the Packers.
In the NFC playoffs has started every single game and played every snap this season than Roger Staubach of the Dallas Cowboys. He leads the way. Captain Comeback is one of his taglines. Staubach leading Dallas to not only the number 2 seed in the NFC, but with what they hope will be a long playoff run. They go up against the Green Bay team that has 23 Pro Football Hall of Famers. Staubach's first pass complete to Drew Pearson. Enough for a first down for the Cowboys as we see Dallas and their offense prolific all throughout. We'll highlight that throughout the course of the afternoon. No Michael Irvin. He is out for the season. Here's Staubach's pass knocked down by Bill Forrester. Now we take a look at the Cowboys starting offense. They're led by Bob Hayes, Drew Pearson, the wide receivers. Emmitt Smith is the lead tailback. Jason Witten, the key tight end for the Cowboys offense and for this Dallas team. Though they didn't come into existence until 1960, they have found their stride, especially underneath the direction of head coach Tom Landry. 2nd and 10 for Dallas. Staubach lets one go down the field. Caught! T.O. with the completion. Terrell Owens a first down to the 46.
And Terrell Owens fighting for every battle today. You know that he wants to play against his old San Francisco 49ers in the NFC Championship game. And the old rivalry will continue between the Packers and Cowboys. So many Hall of Famers on both sides of the ball tonight.
See what Dallas can do in their opening series. Green Bay, however, does have the edge in NFL championships with 13 all-time. Emmitt Smith bottled up in the backfield, and that brings us the chance to look at Green Bay's defense. No Ray Nitschke, he's out for the season. Reggie White, one of the main key stars along the defensive line for Green Bay, Herb Adderley additionally, but this Green Bay defense, they came in clutch against the Rams last week, Connor, with that shutout in the second half.
Absolutely, and this defense, though, they're facing more Hall of Famers actually tonight, so we'll see how they do. They're going to have to keep strong.
Staubach on 2nd and 11, sets up a screen pass, nearly caught by Jason Witten, brings up 3rd and 6 for Dallas.
Didn't quite find Jason Witten right where they wanted to. They had 3 guys surrounding him. The screen kind of broke loose at the end.
Quite a rivalry between Green Bay and Dallas. 9 different times they've met in the postseason. We'll detail that throughout the course of the afternoon. Pearson in motion. Staubach scans the grid and finds Pearson short of the sticks, however. 4th down. See what Dallas and Tom Landry like to do, and Brandon Aubrey trots on for a field goal attempt. This from 53 yards away. Now the hold of Troy Aikman. Aubrey's kick is off the upright and no good.
Well, you see here, he had enough leg on it. And it's not oftentimes when you miss it from 53 yards that it's actually going to go off the upright. It's usually falling short, so just not as accurate as he needed to be. Green Bay is going to take over with great field position for Brett Favre.
And Jim Taylor gets the call after not playing against the Rams because he got into a bar fight with Sam Huff of the New York Giants in the week leading up to the game. Always a pleasant sight to see Jim Taylor in the lineup for Green Bay. 2nd and 6. Taylor is the lone setback behind Brett Favre. Ron Kramer in motion. And this is Jim Taylor, who's got a lane. Jim Taylor breaks it open. And there goes Jim Taylor. He takes it the distance for the touchdown.
Boy, are the Green Bay Packers lucky that the National Football League only gave him about a 10-day suspension, coming back just in time for the practice field. And I saw them. They ran this play right with the offensive line, right? 1960s, putting all the blocks there in practice. And now they implemented it into the game against Dallas. Wow, 2 snaps and they're already on the board.
Vince Lombardi called it working in the alley. Extra point from Mason Crosby splits the uprights. 4:31 left in the first quarter, and Jim Taylor with the touchdown run of 53 yards. Already the start that the Packers are looking for. Another look into your living room. Ron Kramer with the lead block on Darren Woodson. And then Taylor took it the distance. A welcoming sight for the Packer faithful with a 7-0 lead. Here's the kickoff. Sent towards Deion Sanders from his 1. Sanders on the kickoff return. Spins his way out to the 28-yard line. So the Dallas offense, after the missed field goal from Brandon Aubrey, go to work. See what Roger the Dodger can do. Never played against the Packers in the playoffs during his time with the Cowboys. On 1st down, Staubach scans and goes deep, and the pass is pulled down. Drew Pearson with the catch, enough for a 1st down for the Cowboys.
And great defense, but great defense can't defend the perfect pass. If we take a look here, route was kind of slowed down with the little push off, but Drew Pearson with that vertical got it right there, right into the hands. Check down.
Making the catch over Herb Adderley, enough for moving the sticks. Staubach on 1st down finds T.O. Terrell Owens. Gain of 6 to the 43.
That's a loaded right side there. In that formation, they had Terrell Owens and Drew Pearson to the right of Roger Staubach. So it'll be interesting to see how these guys also get other receivers that are not as well known open to the left.
2nd and 4. Staubach. He goes deep down the field, and the pass is caught! Bob Hayes, touchdown Dallas!
What a route. Take a look here. 4 steps drop, right in perfect timing. Staubach unleashes it right into the hands of Bob Hayes, who was wide open.
The only athlete to win an Olympic gold medal and a Super Bowl scores the touchdown. Aubrey's extra point ties the game. 3:14 remaining in the first, but Bob Hayes with a 43-yard touchdown catch. Take a look last week for the Packers, Amon Green with a massive touchdown run and an explosive second half for the Packers, coming away with the victory in the wild card round. What a win it was for Vince Lombardi and the Packers. Tremont Williams from his goal line. And he takes this kickoff all the way to the 18. Another look at Brett Favre, and the Green Bay offense took over for Aaron Rodgers after he was injured and knocked out for the season. And Favre has filled in nicely for the Packers, as he has been the engineer for the Packers for so many years. He goes to work from the 18. This is Jim Taylor. He breaks away from the first tackle before he's finally cut down. A look at the Green Bay starting offense. Don Hudson, that is the receiver to pay attention to. 99 touchdown catches in his career. A record that stood until 1989. Broken by Steve Largent. 2nd and 13 for the Packers with Ahman Green in the backfield, as he had quite the day last week. Favre scans the grid and finds Ahman Green out of the backfield. And now look at the Cowboys starting defense. Deion Sanders and Mel Renfro, Cliff Harris, Hall of Famers in the secondary. And you have Bob Lilly, Randy White, linebacking core for Dallas. And this is a matchup that features 41 Pro Football Hall of Famers. So you have to imagine it's the best of the best here in Big D. Favre cranks up the deep ball for Don Hudson, and the pass is intercepted. Picked off by Darren Woodson at the 22.
Well, if this isn't a patented Brett Favre pass, we know that he's a gunslinger. He's got all day here. But he fires it to an unopened receiver. He's surrounded by 4 guys there, and Rod Woodson, Hall of Fame safety, cornerback, making that catch. One of the easiest catches he'll ever have.
Here's Staubach to throw. He's got great protection. He skitters the pocket and he's sacked. Driven down in the backfield by Dave Robinson, who had his way against the Rams last week in a loss of 9.
Well, last time they got that touchdown, they did not implement the blitz, so this time they send their middle linebacker through.
On 2nd and 19, Staubach is hit, the ball is loose, and it's picked up by Dave Hanner, and Hanner has the scoop and score for the Packers.
And what do you want to do if you're the defense for Green Bay? You want to blitz Roger the Dodger. Now, his patented move is to spin away when he's got somebody coming up from behind him. So what do? They send both men from both sides of the defensive line. Doesn't give him the opportunity to make that move, and then the ball comes out. That's a great play call.
Dave Robinson again got to the quarterback. Here's Mason Crosby. He adds the extra point. And it's a 14-7 game, and this game is not even a quarter old.
My goodness. 14-7, Danny. And you know that it's a stacked quarterback lineup you got for the Packers when the third-string quarterback is Bart Starr.
A lot of names. Troy Aikman hasn't seen a snap all season. Deion Sanders, good kickoff return out to the 23. And just as quickly has Roger Staubach left the field after the scoop and score from Dave Hanner, who was the defensive coordinator for the Packers during their championship runs of the 60s and also was a DC in the 70s. Staubach, he's hit again. This time the rush from Aaron Campman got to Staubach.
Don't try to fix it if it's not broken yet. They're going to keep rushing Roger Staubach until he can eventually roll out and make those passes.
Tony Dorsett with the handoff, 4-yard play. Matthews made the stop for Green Bay.
And what an implementation too. Go ahead, Danny. Sorry.
9 different playoff meetings between these two teams. Twice in the 60s and
False start. Offense.
So that doesn't help Dallas at all. 3rd and 14 on the way. Emmitt Smith lines up as the sent back to the right of Staubach. He looks to throw. And the rush on its way, and another sack. Aaron Campman to the quarterback again.
Well, you have Emmitt Smith lined up to the right to block those guys, but they stacked the left side of the line with receivers. So if the other defensive line gets by the first line of defense, Roger Staubach has no time to run away.
Here's Matt McBriar, sent to punt for Dallas, and he gets it away in the direction of Tremont Williams. On the punt return, Williams near midfield. And he's brought down at the halfway mark, and that brings us to the halfway mark of the first half. End of the first quarter. Green Bay, 14-7 lead on Dallas. Back in a moment. Charger Dude 95 game of the week in the NFC Divisional playoff between Green Bay and Dallas. And it's the visitors of a 14-7 lead here in Dallas. Favre His pass knocked down, incomplete. As we were mentioning earlier, these teams have met 9 times in the playoffs, twice in the 60s, which included an incredible 1966 NFL championship, followed up by the Ice Bowl in 67. Here's Jim Taylor on the handoff, and he's wrestled to the deck, thanks to the tackle from Randy White. And then they wouldn't meet again until 1982. Dallas won a high-scoring game there after Green Bay had won the 2 60s NFL championships. And then the 90s was all Dallas, winning 3 consecutive playoff meetings. Here's Favre. His pass caught by Don Hudson. He's to the 36, up for a first down for Green Bay. And then the Packers, from the 2010s, they won several major games, the Des Kotick game supposedly, and a couple other wild affairs. 1st and 10 for Green Bay. Favre. He looks over the field and throws deep, and the pass is knocked down, incomplete, in the direction of Sterling Sharp.
Well, Sterling Sharp, that's the first time Favre was targeting him all day. And before his big injury that sent him out of the National Football League and sent him into early retirement, he was Favre's favorite receiver by far. So expect him to be targeted more.
2nd and 10. Favre looking for an open receiver and finds Sharp again. Sterling Sharp inside the 20 and down to the 17.
What did I say? When he's healthy, he's fast and he's an animal. He can dominate out there. He's got a great vertical. He can catch any ball that Brett Favre throws to him.
Pro Football Hall of Famer. And Amon Green with the handoff of the gaping lane, and Amon Green's in the end zone. Touchdown, Green Bay.
Well, it's been both Jim Taylor and Amon Green all day, huh? Now, what Amon Green's mainly been doing this whole time has been blocking for Jim Taylor, so Dallas, they're a little taken aback every time he gets the ball. He's only gotten the ball twice, and he's already scored a touchdown.
Crosby adds the extra point, and the Green Bay ground game has made a stellar impact with both touchdowns on offense. Green, after the big day last weekend to the scoring fray, look at Dallas and how they got themselves into the playoffs. A critical fumble recovery from Darren Woodson from Del Schaffner set it up. And Emmitt Smith with the touchdown run. Dallas, they would have lost that game. They would have been eliminated, and Philadelphia would have made their way into the postseason. So a key win for Dallas. Final week of the year against the Giants. Bob Hayes on the kickoff return out to the 26. But when you look at the history for the NFC East, for Dallas to come away the only playoff team from the division, quite the accomplishment.
Absolutely. Considering that all of those teams have been in the NFL for so long and all the Hall of Famers that they have, easily the most competitive division.
Emmitt Smith on a gain of 5. And for the Cowboys, behind the 8 ball and with such a large deficit, a lot of questions that need to be asked from this Dallas team. Here's Emmitt Smith, and he is able to move ahead for a first down for Dallas.
And I'd like to see more plays with Emmitt Smith where we have Tony Dorsett as a fullback because he's a little bit bigger and he can block for him too.
Here's Staubach to throw. His pass finds Bob Hayes, but the pass broken up thanks to the defense from Nick Collins, who had a pick 6 against the Steelers in Super Bowl 45 in this stadium, of all things. 2nd and 10. Staubach, his pass finds Bob Hayes, who's able to hang on, brings up 3rd and 3 for Dallas.
We got Bob Hayes running a bunch of under routes in between the middle linebackers and the safeties, so he's kind of the safety man for Roger Staubach, but middle linebackers for Green Bay have been so good at hitting him immediately when he gets the ball, so they're adding that extra pressure.
Staubach, his pass for T.O., enough for a first down for the Cowboys. And you talk about combinations that some cases are hard to believe. Terrell Owens and head coach Tom Landry, and how they get along. Here's the first down throw from Staubach that finds Bob Hayes this time, who did play underneath the direction of Tom Landry, enough for a first down for Dallas.
Well, before the beginning of this year, Danny, we all remember that Tom Landry sat down with Terrell Owens and said, hey, I know about the antics. As long as you keep it off of my practices and just in the game, we can work together. Uh-oh.
False start. Offense. First down.
After the false start penalty, see what Dallas can do here on 1st and 15. Dorsett. Tony Dorsett nearly broke away. Touchdown saving tackle on the effort that came from Nick Barnett.
And that just goes to show the speed and the talent that Tony Dorsett has. He had 5 Packers surrounded, but after that first stiff arm was able to get around and gain a few extra yards. Almost a touchdown had it up in for that tackle.
Dorsett again. Tony Dorsett with another first down run for Dallas.
2 major juke moves, Danny. The first one 2 plays ago, gained them 5 yards, and then that one right there gained them the 8 that they needed for the first down. This time Emmitt Smith in the backfield.
DeBock this time throws to Jason Witten, and he's wrapped up immediately by Darren Sharper.
Well, it's not often that you see a lineup with Jason Witten as the tight end, and then you got Bob Hayes and Terrell Owens and Drew Pearson to throw to. It's just an absolute blessing for Roger the Dodger.
2nd and 8. DeBock. Rush on its way, dumps it away. Pass incomplete. 3rd and 8 on the way.
Great call by Roger. I know that that's not a highlight reel play, but it's a smart play. He was just able to get it off. If it's not caught, it's incomplete. It's not a sack. 3rd and 8 instead of 3rd and 15.
They keep it on the ground with Emmitt Smith, and he nearly picks up the first down. Here's Brandon Aubrey. Field goal attempt from 37 yards away. And Aubrey's kick is good. And the Cowboys trail by 11. Aubrey this time makes the field goal. Makes an 11-point game. And Aubrey is fired up after missing the field goal on the opening drive. Herb Adderley on the return. Lead block from Tremont Williams. He discerns against it. Instead takes the touchback. 1:49 to go. Packers offense with an 11-point lead. And what they hope will end with a trip to the NFC Championship game against San Francisco 49ers. Here's Favre. His pass caught by Don Hudson on a gain of 8. Packers rush to the line. Taylor in the backfield. Favre scans the grid and finds Davante Adams, ridden down by Darren Woodson. Packers go in the hurry up. Lofton in the slot. Here's Favre. He throws. Davante Adams with the catch. The gain is 7. Packers called their second timeout of the half. Vince Lombardi always said the most important minutes of the game were the last 2 minutes of each half. Here are the final minutes of the first half as Favre goes deep and throws out of bounds.
Well, Sterling Sharp is probably the most talented of this receiving core, but Davante Adams, you could argue, has the best route running of this receiving core, which is why he's been able to get open these last 2 plays.
Here's Favre. His pass knocked down, incomplete. 4th down on the way. Daniel Whelan on to punt for Green Bay.
And that was intended for Sterling Sharp again. Not quite there by Brett Favre.
Whelan's punt, angled towards the sideline. Deion Sanders fields it and heads out of bounds at the 24. A minute remaining in the first half. Here from Dallas, DeBock alongside Connor Focasano. And Connor, we took the quick flight after the Pittsburgh Steelers defeated the Cleveland Browns 48-7. Here's DeBock. Sets one up underneath for T.O. Gain of 5. Timeout from the Cowboys, but quick plane flight here to Dallas. And good thing the Steelers game ended so quickly. Here's DeBock. They just come to Dallas in time. Here's T.O. just short of the 6. 3rd and 1 on the way.
Well, considering the jet lag, Danny, you always forget about it. Uh-oh, there's a flag. Hold on.
As T.O. was near the 6. 3rd and 1 on the way for Dallas. DeBock to throw. He's got great protection and goes deep, and the pass is brought down. Drew Pearson inside the 20 of the 16. Timeout, Dallas.
My goodness. Second time today, Drew Pearson has burned the secondary. Now, that was man coverage. They only had one guy on him. I'm not so sure what Vince Lombardi was thinking there. Drew Pearson, all he has to do is beat and then run around his man. And that's the most basic route, the post route, all the way to the end zone.
DeBock zings the pass. T.O. out of bounds at the 18, 36 seconds to go. Herb Adderley beaten again by Drew Pearson. Keep that in mind. Quite the matchup so far. 2nd and 12. Smith the setback. DeBock. Nobody open. He shoots one to the end zone, and it's incomplete.
Almost intercepted, Danny. That was a wild throw. You don't see Roger Staubach make throws like that often. He's usually a lot cooler under pressure, so he's glad that he has that one back. Dallas 2 for 5 today on third down conversions. Let's see if they can make it 3 for 6.
On 3rd and 12, Staubach shoots one to the end zone, intercepted. Picked off by Charles Woodson in the end zone. And Dallas comes up empty.
Oh, man, Charles Woodson. He's played against everybody at this point, huh? He's played against Brady, Manning, and now he's going back in time and playing his old idol. Coming up with the high and see a big one right there.
Jim Taylor on the handoff. Not much daylight. Dragged down by Chuck Howley, Super Bowl V MVP. Green Bay does utilize their final timeout. Jim Taylor in the backfield. This is Taylor. Written down. 12 seconds ago, Dallas uses their final timeout. This, barring something unforeseen, is the final play of the first half. Amon Green up the middle. Amon Green dragged down by Darren Woodson. And that brings the first half to a close. Here from Dallas, Green Bay, a 21-10 lead over the Cowboys in the NFC Divisional Playoff game. Let's go to Nick Rice for your halftime report.
Thanks, guys. We're at the half from Arlington, where the all-time Packers lead Dallas by double digits, courtesy of a fabulous day out of that Green Bay defense. They were outpossessed by 7 minutes in that first half, but a critical Roger Staubach fumble, coupled with 61 yards and a touchdown from the player of the half, Hall of Famer from LSU, Jim Taylor, part of the Packers surge as they lead 21-10. As you can see on the bottom left, Green Bay is 9-0 when leading at the half, and they're up by double digits in this one. The Packers and the Cowboys winner to play San Francisco next week in the NFC Championship game.
Minutes to decide finalists in the NFC Championship. Will it be Green Bay or will it be Dallas? We're set to go. Second half action. Green Bay to get the football to start half number 2. Brandon Aubrey's kickoff flies to Herb Adderley, who takes it in the end zone for a touchback. That's where we'll see the Green Bay Packer offense with Brett Favre take the field. And you mentioned a lot about Brett Favre, but so far, Connor Focasano, the offense has been all a part of the ground game as Favre looks to the air. And Favre lets one go, caught by Sterling Sharp, enough for a first down for the Packers.
Yeah, well, the reason why it has been all about the ground game, if you take a look at the scoring, is due to the fact that most of that offensive line is that team from the 60s that Lombardi basically ran to perfection.
Fake to Canadeo, and the pass is intercepted! picked off by Mel Renfro, and he is down to the 27.
Not really sure what Brett Favre was thinking right there. He had plenty of time, and with a little bit of pressure on him and a defender at his heels, he just kind of lobbed it up there, but I know that he wishes he would have just took the sack. Easy interception. And Roger Staubach's going to go back to work and try to make this a 4-point game if they can score the touchdown.
Staubach. Look at the protection Staubach has. He throws one into traffic, incomplete.
It looks like Tom Landry got on his offensive line for all of the sacks that Roger Staubach had to endure in the first half. That was amazing protection.
2nd and 10. Staubach. And he runs into the worst guy you could think of on the pass rush, Reggie White.
Reggie White's first big play of the game. And you know that he's going to step up in the fourth quarter if it's close.
3rd and 15. Here's Staubach again. He looks over the grid and he's sacked again. This time it's Henry Jordan. And they're going to try it. Brandon Aubrey from 58 yards away. And Aubrey's kick is good.
Oh my goodness.
The second longest kick this season.
Well, Danny,
Wow.
that kick traveled just about as far as we've traveled with all the flights that we've been taking. And let me tell you, jet lag or not, we have been getting so excited for all of these games, and we're certainly not feeling tired, are we?
Herb Adderley takes a knee in the end zone. We'll be with you for the NFC Championship from San Francisco, Connor and I. Question will be who will be there. The Cowboys make it a one-possession game. Here's Brett Favre at the controls with Jim Taylor to his left. Kaufman goes in motion. And this is Jim Taylor on the handoff, buried by Micah Parsons.
That kick may go down as one of the most clutch kicks in NFL history if Dallas ends up tying this game, Danny.
Could be an important play. Still a long way to go. 2nd and 8. Here's Favre. And he looks to run, and that's not a good decision. Harvey Martin with the sack for the Cowboys.
That was a great job by Harvey Martin. Pushed his man out of the way, still stayed on Brett Favre. Kind of read his hips as he tried to make a little juke move and then tackled him at the ankles.
Co-MVP of Super Bowl 12. Favre's pass for Don Hudson within a tight pocket. Good for 11, but not enough for a first down.
It's not often you're going to see co-MVP in the Super Bowl. Probably not in today's game.
Whelan to punt for the Packers. He sends one away. This is Deion Sanders from his 28. And he's wrestled down by Bobby Dillon. So the Cowboys, after a first half where they trailed by as many as 14, their offensive line was porous at best in the first half. See how things can change possibly for them here in half number 2 with Roger Staubach at the controls. And the Navy quarterback throws an incompletion.
Yeah, I'm not so sure why they continue to pass the ball, Danny. I mean, if you want to give your offensive line, some positive energy, make them run the ball. You've got 2 halfbacks in the Hall of Fame behind them.
And they continue to throw. Staubach in a tight window finds Drew Pearson. Third and 5 on the way for Dallas. With Emmitt Smith in the backfield. Here's Staubach in trouble, and he is sacked again. Henry Jordan this time.
At this point, it's just all in the offensive line's heads. They have been letting so many guys through, and you start to second guess yourself. You start to second guess what moves they're going to do, where you're going to plant your feet. There were 3 guys surrounding Roger before he could do his patented spin away move.
At McBriar's punt heads towards Tremont Williams. From the 17, taken down, this time by Dexter Coakley for Dallas. Look at the quarterback comparison, and it is lopsided. That's one way you could describe it.
And Roger Staubach showing that he can still throw for 200 yards despite all the pressure he's been facing.
Jim Taylor nearly broke away from Darren Woodson. 7-yard gain for Taylor, and he was frustrated that he did not break it open for another long run.
And that man, Jerry Kramer, is forcing a lot of those blocks up the middle for Jim Taylor.
This time they run on his off-guard side, and Bob Lilly is able to respond with the stop.
Well, Jim Taylor is so good at it. He's more of a power running back, from that era. So instead of making a lot of moves and being really fast like, say, Amon Green, he's going to try to, run over people.
3rd and 2. Favre finds Paul Kaufman, the tight end of the 80s for Green Bay, under the direction of Bart Starr when he was head coach of the Packers. New set of downs, Jim Taylor in the backfield. And this is Jim Taylor, who has a lane along the right side before he's gang tackled. Initiated by Chuck Howley, MVP of Super Bowl V. Deion Sanders was also there. Second and 2. Kaufman in motion. Fake to Canadeo. Favre lobs one wide open. Paul Kaufman down the left sideline, out of bounds with a 21.
And Paul Kaufman, not a lot of great memories for Green Bay from the 1980s, but he was one of those guys, a star on a team that was mediocre at best, and he certainly deserves to be on this all-time team, and he's showing what he can do in those last 2 catches that he's made.
Only one playoff appearance for Paul Kaufman in 1982. Favre lobbing to the end zone. Incomplete. Don Hudson was the intended target.
I think that was miscommunication between quarterback and receiver. Not quite so sure what that route was, but the Cowboys were in a 3-man zone, taking up the whole corner of the end zone.
Sharp in motion.
Early thrown.
Favre zings one for James Lofton. And a bullet pass sets up 3rd and 3. And this will take us to the end of the 3rd quarter here from Dallas. Who is heading to San Francisco? And whose season will end? Find out next. We begin the 4th quarter here from Dallas. A big 3rd and 3 for the Packers with Jim Taylor. Lone setback behind Brett Favre. Taylor's got the football, and he is able to extend it up for a 1st down for Green Bay.
It's a smart play. Just a couple yards to go to get to the 1st down marker. If you're going to give it to Jim Taylor, because if he makes that catch and has open field, he can bowl his head over and run over people. That's going to allow him to gain that extra yard that he needs to get past that yellow marker.
Again, Jerry Kramer with the key block for Green Bay. Here's Taylor in the backfield. Kaufman in motion. Straight ahead, Jim Taylor off left tackle all the way to the 4. And Cliff Harris is injured on the play. And he will not return. Favre throws to the end zone. Hudson incomplete.
Well, they're implementing the old with the new Tanny, the old Don Hudson going for a fade route. Brett Favre, that was actually a really well-thrown pass, but perfect defense, 3rd and goal. This will be a huge stop for Dallas if they can pull it off.
Favre, scanning, looking, throwing, Hudson well short. And the Packers forced to kick the field goal. Mason Crosby from 21 yards away. Out of the hold of the backup quarterback, Bart Starr, and the kick is good. And the Packers lead Dallas 24-13 with 6:36 to go in regulation. A look at earlier divisional meeting between San Francisco and Chicago. Roger Craig, an incredible touchdown run. And then Montana found, guess who? Jerry Rice for a long touchdown. And the 49ers advance to the NFC Championship, defeating the Chicago Bears just several days ago. but who will meet them? Here's Deion Sanders on the return for Dallas. And Deion all the way to the 25. Look at some of the key stats so far. Dallas, you mentioned it, Connor. Not a lot of rushing yards, only 36 so far today.
Well, like I've said before, if they could just implement a two-back backfield with both of those running backs, but we're still seeing a single-back formation, so I guess I got to trust Tom Lynch's intuition.
Here's Tony Dorsett. And that intuition picks up 2 yards. Bobby Dillon made the stop, and the Cowboys already in the hurry-up with Dorsett in the backfield. Witten in motion. Here's Staubach to throw. He has great protection for now. His pass, well, short and brought down by Drew Pearson.
Oh, Drew Pearson's so good at that. Now, if you take a look here, he's going to see that it's underthrown. So he runs back, gets down on his knee, and just cradles it in. That is a very huge catch for Dallas. And that very much keeps them in the game with only 5 minutes left.
Drew
6
Pearson
minutes left.
replacing Michael Irvin out for the season. Here's Staubach to throw. His pass towards the sideline for Bob Hayes, and he brought it down for a catch.
Man, what a great job by Bob Hayes. Not a lot of highlight reel catches from his era where he can zoom in with the replay and see that they kept their toes in, but he was able to keep them in. That was all about hand-eye coordination and brought down. Clock still running, though.
Down by 2 possessions. Emmitt Smith checks into the game at tailback. Here's Staubach to throw. He looks over the field and throws in the direction of Terrell Owens, more of throwing out of his own safety.
Well, the offensive line, they're giving Roger the time that he needs now. And this is where he becomes a huge weapon.
On 2nd and 10, Staubach. Quick pass, incomplete. Bill Forrester broke up the pass.
And Forrester, with a huge vertical, had to outstretch his arm. Barely got his hand on it. Great defensive play. Able to read Roger Staubach's eyes like a book.
Staubach to the end zone. It is Hayes. He is in for the touchdown.
This might go down as one of the best receiving drives in Cowboys history if they win this game, Danny. 2 clutch plays. First one to the right side, keeping it inbounds, and this time into the end zone. My goodness. Bob Twinkletoes Hayes putting on a highlight show.
Emmitt Smith in the backfield for the 2-point conversion, and Staubach finds Jay Novacek, and the Cowboys are within a field goal.
One more stop, Danny, and then one more drive. That's all it needs.
Novacek left all alone with Witten nearby, but Novacek, the tight end, with the 2-point conversion after the touchdown from Bob Hayes. His second of the game, or Adderley on the return, all the way out to the 19, with 5:01 to go in the game. And for the Packers, their story has been they have been dominant on the ground. Now, all they need to do is run out the clock all the way to the NFC Championship. But instead, Favre will throw. Here's Brett Favre. He scans and cranks up a deep ball. Hudson, incomplete. Rather, Sterling Sharp, the intended receiver.
Well, who would have known that 2 teams that combined for 24 Hall of Famers, Danny, that we would, it'd be a 3-point game with 5 minutes left.
It can only happen in a dream season. Here's Jim Taylor, wrapped up immediately by Chuck Howley. There's a reason why this is Charger 95's game of the week. 3rd and 11, though, and a chance for the Cowboys to get the football back. Green Bay, you see the number. 4 of 8 on 3rd down, but can they come up with a conversion here? Can they keep it on the ground? Amon Green, nowhere near the 1st down marker. And the Cowboys to get the football back, and how fitting is it? Roger Staubach, comeback after comeback. Now he is on the verge of etching his name into the books with yet another one of those, possibly. Here's Deion Sanders from the 28. And Sanders brought down by Clark Hinkle at the 35.
Well, that may have worked in the Packers' favor, because if you're going to go out, you might as well go 3 and out and leave 3 minutes and 40 seconds left on the clock. Because if Dallas scores with about a minute left, you're still probably going to have 2 to 3 timeouts standing to then have a patented drive of your own.
With 3:41 to go, Emmitt Smith is cut down. A.J. Hawk, third-string linebacker, in on the stop.
What a great play by A.J. Hawk, getting around the offensive lineman and bringing him in for the tackle. Keeps the clock.
Cowboys got to make some plays, down by 3. Staubach throws for Bob Hayes, and he's wrapped up immediately. Bill Forrester had a scoop and score touchdown against the Raiders in the regular season, made the stop. He tackled there, brings up 3rd and 12. Cowboys look to keep the drive alive. Here's Staubach straight back to throw. And his pass is incomplete. Broken up at the last moment by Jair Alexander.
Well, if you take a look here, they rushed their left middle linebacker, number 41, going in, causing a lot of pressure and making Roger Staubach throw something that he didn't really want to throw. Great job by the defense, and quite frankly, I was surprised to see them take a chance and blitz there.
Matt McBriar punts away for Dallas. This is Tremont Williams from his 20. Williams brought down at the 30. Remember, Dallas still has all 3 of their timeouts. And for Green Bay, it's up to the ground game to carry them to San Francisco. Amon Green is the tailback in the backfield with Clark Hinkle the fullback. Here's Amon Green. Good run with a first down for the Packers. This takes us all the way to the 2-minute warning. This is a critical run. Now, Packers knocking on the door of playing in the NFC Championship. Jim Taylor. And a season-saving stop from Leroy Jordan to limit the damage to a yard. Canadeo, the tailback. This is Tony Canadeo left side, and he's brought down by Mel Renfro. Cowboys use their second timeout. 3rd and 6. Canadeo again, and he is drilled and stopped by Deion Sanders.
Well, as much as you hate for it to be 4th and 8, it's probably smart for Green Bay to do that. They have a minute 47 left. Dallas has a minute 47 left to make a patented drive, but with no timeouts, they're going to be thrown off of their game, and they're going to have to no-huddle it the whole way down the field.
Wheeling to punt for Green Bay. Deep kick, Deion Sanders from his 17. Deion Sanders breaks a tackle. There goes Deion Sanders all the way to the 36.
Well, Primetime doing what he does best, shaking off tacklers, and giving Roger the Dodgers some extra room and less space to get to that end zone.
With 1:37 to go, Staubach looks to throw. He goes deep, and the pass is caught. Bob Hayes, touchdown Dallas! 64 yards to take the lead.
Who would have thought with Terrell Owens and Jason Witten and Drew Pearson, Bob Hayes was going to be the man as he plops that football down in the end zone. What an exciting, exhilarating touchdown for these Arlington fans. Dallas.
And the extra point is good from Aubrey. Bob Hayes, what a stat line. But Roger Staubach, 3 touchdowns, 343 yards, all of them to Bob Hayes. And now it's up to the Packers to make a big play. And they need a touchdown after they had led by 14. Largest comeback this season was 14 points. Game between Denver and Tennessee, Houston, where Oilers and Titans mixed the teams rallied back to win. 1:28 to go. Favre, his pass, caught by Hudson, and he is down at the 33.
Well, if you want to talk about drama, A last-second patented Brett Favre drive.
Here's Favre. He goes deep, and the pass is Hudson can't bring it in.
Great pass. Double coverage and went right out of bounds even though he wasn't able to bring it in. So they'll do it again. It stops the clock though, so that might be a positive for the Packers.
2nd and 10. Favre looks. Kaufman wrestled down. Stop made by Everson Walls. 3rd down for Green Bay. 1:03 to go. Favre, he throws, caught by Sharp, and he has a 1st down to move the chains for Green Bay. With 51 seconds left, Favre throws to the sideline. Adams, and he did bring in the football. 47 seconds to go.
Now what they're doing is they have all of their strong receivers to the right side in those last 2 plays. Now they're bringing them to the left. Trying to throw the
2nd
coverage
down.
off.
Favre caught by Hudson. Don Hudson into Dallas territory to the 35. 40 seconds to go. Here's Favre. He looks. He sets. He throws. Middle. Locked in. And he's brought down at the 18 with 30 seconds left.
Oh my goodness. Well, Lofton going over the middle and making that great catch. And so many players to choose from. Don Hudson getting so many plays. Devontae Adams. Favre's using all of his receivers on this one.
Favre throws to the end zone. Incomplete. He was looking for Lofton.
Well, they don't call him the gunslinger for nothing. Tried to force that ball in there. Lucky that it bounced onto the turf. They'll do it again, 2nd and 10.
The time is the important matter here. 24 seconds remaining. Favre from the shotgun with Taylor to his left. Favre back to throw. He looks, he cranks to the end zone. Incomplete. Nearly intercepted again.
Well, the only players that are used to catching the Favre passes are his players. And I mean, when he throws it, it's a bullet. It's very hard to catch.
3rd down. Favre looks to the end zone. Intercepted. Picked up by Mel Renfro. And the Cowboys are headed to the NFC Championship.
Well, you figured it was either going to end dramatically with a huge touchdown or an interception. That's how it usually goes. Live by the Favre, die by the Favre. And Dallas, in those last 3 plays, implemented a zone defense. They dropped their middle linebackers back, almost in a prevent. And that allowed them to win this game.
What a game. What a win for Dallas. They advance to the NFC Championship. But what a superstar performance from Bob Hayes. 3 touchdowns, including the winner in the closing seconds. A game that came down to the end. The Cowboys and the 49ers to meet in the NFC Championship game. Connor, what a game we just witnessed.
Absolutely. And it came down to 2 drives by 2 great quarterbacks. Roger Staubach coming out on top, and that just goes to show how tough he is. Taking all those sacks, 1 fumble, but still able to bring in those passes to Bob Hayes. And man, he's the true hero of this one, Danny. Who would have expected that Bob Hayes, out of all the receiving people on that receiving corps, would have been the one to win MVP of this one?
For Connor, I'm Danny DeBock saying so long and take care. Cowboys for the NFC title.